Hey everybody, sorry I'm a little bit late this week. I've had a really busy week. Sick kid at home. I had to spend a lot of time at home and kind of make my schedule a little more flexible this week. Haven't had the time to get all my projects here done the way I wanted to, but I've got a couple things to show you here. So let's get right down to it. First thing I've got is I've got a clutch that I want to cut here. It's a pastel leopard het genetic stripe bred to a spinner blast genetic stripe. So I really like the leopard genetic stripe stuff. I know I've gotten a pretty good response for the ones that I've produced over this past year. So let's see if we can get some new leopard genetic stripe combos out right now. Okay. I don't really know exactly what that is. It's a spider or something, but I don't know. That looks like maybe a bumblebee genetic stripe, maybe a bumblebee leopard genetic stripe. I think that's a leopard bumblebee, and he or she'd be het genetic stripe. I'm having a really hard time producing leopard genetic stripes this year. I hatched out a pair so far, but that's out of about 4 or 5 clutches. Ooh, this one looks really cool. That may be a pastel leopard genetic stripe. So many of these things are so hard to identify in the egg. I get people asking me for identification all the time, and they'll show me like pictures of a snake still in the egg and wants me to identify it. There could be like, you know, a dozen different possibilities. I don't know what that is. Well, anyway, that was weird. I'll show this group of snakes once they completely hatch and shed out too. So we'll hopefully be able to get a little bit more of a feel for what they actually are. But the main purpose for this video isn't that. That was just a little extra bonus. The main purpose of this video is to talk a little bit more about microscale ball pythons. Microscale is another line of the scaleless ball python, scaleless head. Microscale seem to be a little bit different, and so I have some scaleless head stuff here, but I'm mostly working with the microscales, and I think that's kind of the direction that I want to go in, is working with a small group of microscales. I'm not going to go all crazy on producing scaleless stuff because they are a little bit more work to take care of. They need a little bit more attention than a typical ball python, so I'm going to actually explain that right now. So a video that I did over the summer, I showed you my Coral Glow Super Microscale Lucifer. My Super Microscale Coral Glow Lucifer, I guess. So anyway, I showed you that as a hatchling, and I just wanted to give you an update on it. Her, I should say. And here she is. She's in really good shape. She actually just shed this morning, and so I wanted to basically explain what my opinions anyway on the viability of these being pets for people. They are more work. You can't keep them like a normal ball python, at least not entirely normal. You know, their skin is very smooth, and in my opinion, they're probably pretty fragile too. I would worry about skin tearing and stuff, so I don't keep mine on a typical ball python substrate. You know, most of my ball pythons are on coconut chip bedding, such as Reptichip, Pro Coco, There's a variety of different brands out there, but this is the best bedding for most ball pythons. You can keep it a little bit moist so the humidity stays nice and high in the cage. This particular snake is a GHI killer clown, and she definitely wants to kill me right now, or at least if my thumb was a rodent, she would kill that. So that's how I keep most of my baby ball pythons. So this one, this is her home. So I got a water bowl, it's currently empty. Hole cut in the lid. I buy these from Superior Shipping Supplies. There's a variety of different places. TSK Supply has them as well. But I have a hole cut in the lid so they can get in and out if they want to, and she'll actually go in there and soak sometimes. And then this is her humid hide. This particular one is dry right now, but I'll mist in there a little bit, and I'll actually mist the entire cage down very, very lightly. This is a pre-cut insert for this, and so this is how I keep her. She lives right in here like that. There's no sharp objects or anything that she can damage her skin with. Also, it's very important to keep scaleless ball pythons pretty dry, but humidity needs to be high. That's hard to do. You know, dry substrate with high humidity, you basically have to humidify the air. Well, I just keep this slightly damp inside, and if she wants to, she can crawl in there. Believe it or not, she can actually still fit in there, but she's pretty tight. I'm gonna have to move up to a larger size tub. I'll probably go to like a 6 3/4 inch diameter tub that'll still fit in there. The hole cut, like a lower version of this, that she'll be able to climb in. And so if she needs to be in humidity, she'll go in there. And then the biggest thing with these snakes, well, first of all, she's a fantastic eater. She eats frozen thawed right off of tongs, no problem. She would eat 5 days a week if I let her. I only feed her once a week, which is why she's not bigger. I think she hatched in, might have been in July, I think, June, July. I think it was in July. So she could be a lot bigger now, but you know, I'm not trying to push her. I'm just feeding her once a week. She's eating rat pups right now. So the biggest thing about a super microscale or a scaleless of any type for that matter is the shedding issues. These guys seem to shed more frequently than most ball pythons. It was a while between her last shed and the one she just completed this morning, but I know for her first couple sheds, she was shedding every probably 3 weeks. And so when you notice that they start to shed and they get to the point where they're coming out of their skin, I've seen that the skin tends to get caught like right around down on her neck, where it's hard for her to get it off any further. So I usually soak her for several hours to get the skin really nice and moist, and then, or waterlogged mostly, and then I let her slither through my hands, and I very slowly will let the skin come off. Now, if you have to pull at it too much, that might mean that it's not quite ready to come off, and you either have to soak her more or give her an extra day or two. But if the skin is ready to come off, it'll usually like pull off straight. And I kind of wish I would have saved shedding her for this video so I could show you. Maybe I'll do it in a future video sometime. But anyway, I was able to get her skin off of her in one piece and not damage her at all. So I think that when it comes to keeping a super microscale or a scaleless as a pet, you have to be a person that's willing to do a little bit more work and really keep up on her. It's not, I don't think these are the best for people that have, you know, thousands of ball pythons like myself and, you know, quite a few other people. Although I am paying really close attention to her, you know, I obviously want her to do really, really well, and I'm hoping to produce more. But I think that you just need to really watch them very carefully and, you know, make sure their humidity is right. Make sure their cage is nice and dry. You know, I change this out probably 1 to 2 times a week. You know, anytime she goes to the bathroom, you know, she poops in there, it gets smeared around, and then you got to clean it. Sometimes rinse her off. So yeah, basically you just gotta, I think that these are not going to be hard snakes to keep. They just need a little bit different care than normal ball pythons, and they just need to be, you have to keep on top of it a little bit better. You know, if you're gonna go on vacation for a week and you think she might shed, you might want to have somebody come over and check on her and go through the soaking and all that with her. Now, as far as the skin removal thing goes, the shed, I can't stress enough, you don't want to force the issue. You know, you don't want to tear the skin. So if the skin isn't ready to come off, you don't want to sit there and pull at it and pull at it. You know, if the skin's ready to come off and she's been soaking long enough, that skin just comes right off. It takes a little bit of effort, but you can tell if you're, you know, like when it's ready to come off, because it doesn't resist very much, and you can just, it just comes right off. So yeah, that's basically it. I think that feeding these frozen thawed is definitely the way to go. Then there's no issue with the rodent injuring the snake. I imagine rodent teeth could do quite a number on this really soft, smooth skin. And keeping a slightly humid hiding place, dry substrate, you know, like I said, I mist in there really lightly, maybe twice a week, and then keeping fresh water in there. You know, her hot end, which is over on this side, is about 90 degrees. The cool side's about 80 to 82 degrees during the day, probably about 77 at night. Hot spot goes down to about 85 at night, and I feed her once a week, and she's been absolutely fantastic. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the super microscale or any scaleless ball python. And now I want to show you a really cool clutch of them that I just hatched out. Not supers, but regular microscales. So I bred a coral glow microscale to a leopard enchi spider. I got some pretty cool stuff in here. Here is kind of a lower expression Microscale enchi leopard. You can see the little patch right there. Okay, then I have a coral glow microscale leopard spider. And then here I have the same thing as here, but this one also has enchi in it. So this is I think it's a female. These are both females. This one's a male, and then the next one I'm going to show you is a male as well. So this is a coral glow enchi leopard spider microscale. Okay, so then hatch this little freak out. Let me put these away real quick just for a second. So this is kind of a paradox microscale. It's not a super. It can't be a super because only one parent was a microscale. So, but it's probably 75% scaleless. So it's a very high expression microscale. And this is also a spider. Not sure about leopard. Not sure about enchi either. I'd say probably enchi. Leopard, I just don't know. I don't really see leopard in that, but could be. She also does have a defective eye. See that right there. I'm hoping that that comes off with the next shed, but she did shed, or he just shed, you know, his initial shed after hatching a few days ago. And it didn't come off, so it might not have, I don't think it has any use of that eye. The eye was actually swollen a little bit when it first hatched, so it's definitely not a perfect snake. I don't think that has, it might have something to do with the microscale gene being in it, but I've never seen any other microscale stuff with an eye that came out like that, so I don't think it's like anything inheritable or anything like that. Just look at the difference between the microscale part about it and the super. This is not a super, but I mean, you know, for all intents and purposes, this side of it is basically a super. You know, like this side is relatively normal, and this side looks like a super microscale. Just think it's just one of the weirdest ball pythons, definitely one of the weirdest ball pythons that I've ever hatched. So hopefully he'll thrive. I really think he's a cool snake. Now, as far as keeping something like this is actually the second very high expression microscale I've ever produced. As far as keeping something like this, I'm going to keep him just like a super microscale. You know, he's got enough scaleless parts of his body that he's going to need that extra special care that a super has, or a super needs. Really bizarre guy. I don't know. He's cool. Wish that other eye was perfect, but look at that split down the head, right down the head. That's a two-face right there. Okay, so that is some info on the Microscale project and also the Leopard genetic stripe project. I know that didn't really show a whole lot with this particular video, but hopefully I'll have a lot more Leopard genetic stripe stuff. I've actually got a gravid female albino genetic stripe right now that was bred by the same pastel leopard het genetic stripe. So I'm hoping to get a leopard genetic stripe that's het for albino, and then breed that back into albino genetic stripes and get albino genetic stripes that will hopefully have a nice, you know, those two black stripes running down its back will turn white on the albino. So it'll be a yellow with heavy white stripes on the back and more yellow. So anyway, that should be pretty cool, but that's for another video, probably in a year from now, or maybe even longer. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video on microscales, and make sure to visit my website, royalconstrictordesigns.com, to see what I have available right now. I've been trying to get new snakes uploaded. I mentioned in the last video, I took a bunch of pictures of new snakes to put on the website. And then with being home a few days this week, I wasn't able to get all the work done for the week that I was hoping to. Still hoping that I'm not going to have to spend tomorrow at home with my daughter being sick. She's just got the flu or something. I don't know. She should be fine. But anyway, I'm hoping to get those pictures up for new snakes for sale up on my website. I'd say probably within the next week. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll have a lot of really cool stuff, and I've got a lot more. If you look at my available page on my website, the current availability list, that's got everything on there that I have. So definitely check that out as well. And I will be back soon with a new video for you.